Xiao Yan undergoes a terrifying soul transformation where his soul is torn apart, his body nearly dies, and he risks complete destruction to become stronger. Although Xiao Yan was a little disappointed that Yi Tianchen didn't explain the important third step in detail, he still focused his attention. Although the third step was the most important, the first two steps were undoubtedly important. After telling Xiao Yan some things he needed to pay attention to, Yi Tianchen rose into the air and waved his sleeve. An invisible force shot out in all directions like a sharp sword. In an instant, Xiao Yan could sense that everything in the illusion had stopped. He couldn't even feel the flow of time. After finishing this, Yi Tianchen landed on the square. With a solemn expression, he said, "I have completely stopped this illusion. Nothing can interfere with the transformation of the soul. Little guy, are you ready?" Xiao Yan adjusted his excited state of mind and exhaled a breath of turbid air. "No problem. Elder Yi, let's begin." Just now, he had already given the Xiao Ao the task of suppressing the 3,000 lightning Xiao Aos. He repeatedly reminded it several times, and only stopped when the Xiao Ao put away its smiling face and obediently entered the 3,000 lightning monarch flames. This could not be blamed on Xiao Yan's nervousness. After all, soul transformation was not like cultivation. A moment of carelessness could cause one's soul to scatter. Hearing Xiao Yan's answer, Yi Tianchen's expression became a little more serious. Immediately after his eyes focused, a vast and boundless soul force slowly formed in the sky like a dark cloud. Instantly, the entire place was filled with an aura that caused one's soul to tremble. The enormous soul force even formed small soul storms that whistled past. Compared to Yi Tianchen's ocean-like soul force, Xiao Yan's soul force was merely a stream. It formed a blurry, dark cloud above the latter's head. Under Yi Tianchen's soul pressure, it seemed to be trembling slightly. "Cut off the soul connection." Xiao Yan, who was fully focused, heard this sentence. His expression immediately became serious. He shouted softly, as if he had cut off something. A tearing sound immediately sounded between his brows. At the same time, the sound rang out. The glow in Xiao Yan's eyes swiftly dimmed. The focus in his pupils gradually spread, and his skin also rapidly aged. At this moment, red flames suddenly ignited around Xiao Yan's body. Under the scorching heat of the flames, the rapidly aging body gradually stopped. Faint rays of light jumped within the flames, continuously injecting energy into this body. Almost at the same time, the faint soul-dark cloud above Xiao Yan's head seemed to have lost its restraints. Specks of light flickered and quickly began to separate, as if they were going to disappear from this world. Yi Tianchen, who was not far away, smiled. The huge soul cloud in the sky rushed forward like a tidal wave, wrapping around a small part of Xiao Yan's soul without losing anything. Within Yi Tianchen's huge soul cloud, Xiao Yan's soul cloud was rushing left and right. It was not peaceful for a moment. Yi Tianchen smiled faintly and closed his eyes, allowing the latter to do whatever he wanted. After charging for a long time, this soul cloud could not break through no matter what. After about the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, as if it had used up all its energy, the soul cloud gradually calmed down. Yi Tianchen also opened his eyes at this moment. He raised his head and looked at the sea of souls in the sky. With a slight movement of his finger in his sleeve, a majestic soul rushed towards the dark soul cloud like a tiger or wolf. In the blink of an eye, the dark soul cloud disappeared without a trace. After devouring Xiao Yan's soul, the dark soul cloud began to churn violently, like a pot exploding. Just as it was about to surge, a golden light flashed in Yi Tianchen's eyes. Then he waved both of his hands, and invisible waves spread out from his palms. This illusion was created by Yi Tianchen's soul power. Therefore, under the full power of the former, not only did the soul cloud in front of him start to spin crazily, even the illusion began to faintly shake, especially the space that Yi Tianchen's palms passed through. Numerous spatial cracks appeared, turning into spatial fragments that were destroyed in an instant. The soul cloud in the sky was spinning faster and faster. At the center, it even formed a tiny soul storm. Within the storm, even the air was no longer there. The sound of explosions could be heard without an end. Very quickly, a vacuum zone spread out from the center of the storm. Soul cloud layer. The whistling sound of the rotation was incessant. It tore apart the lazy clouds in the sky. As the rotation continued, the power of this circle of souls also continued to increase. Under Yi Tianqian's control, the towering mountains in the distance also turned into soul light spots and poured into the sky, causing the rotating souls to gradually form a bright and clean soul jade plate. After 2 days of rotation, the vacuum space formed by the soul jade plate grew to a few hundred meters in size. Yi Tianqian, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly let out a low shout. With a wave of his sleeve, the entire heaven and earth suddenly changed. The ink-black soul jade plate suddenly condensed, and following that, countless black rays of light burst out from it. The rays of light gathered in the vacuum zone in the center of the soul jade plate. In an instant, a soul sphere that was dozens of meters in size was formed, and it shot out a dazzling black light. The entire illusion realm was instantly covered in black light. The momentum is quite great. Using his peripheral vision to scan his surroundings, Yi Tianqian chuckled lightly. His gaze shifted to the soul light ball at the center of the soul jade plate, and his expression suddenly became solemn. His soul and Xiaoyan's soul had been refined over the past 2 days. A semi-soul body belonging to a great world had already taken shape. The so-called half-soul body was the source of the soul of a great world. A soul body with the chi of a soul from the lower realm. This 3-step soul transfer. These 3 steps were only the basic requirements and what was needed in the process. But there were a lot of them. For the sake of this time, it could be said that he had spent a lot of time and effort, and had almost used up all the treasures he had collected for tens of thousands of years. Countless precious treasures were thrown into it, because the connection between the soul and the body was completely cut off. It was not as simple as the soul leaving the body. The body that lost the soul was like a dried corpse. The extreme could even become a killing machine and a soul without the body. It was like a wandering ghost that could disappear into the world at any time, unless he used a special secret technique or spiritual item to temporarily keep it in the world. Yi Tianqian was an ultimate saint expert when he was alive, so his collection could be said to be extremely rich. However, as he fell, most of the treasures also turned into nothingness. In these 10,000 years, a portion of the treasures that were still alive had lost their spirituality. And what was left was, all of them were extremely rare treasures. In order to successfully transform Xiaoyan's soul, Yi Tianqian had used almost all of the treasures he could use. And because of this, the aura of this soul ball was extremely powerful. Next, the origin monarch chi will take shape for it, he mumbled. Yi Tianqian glanced at Xiaoyan, who was sitting cross-legged not far away from him. He looked like a bag of bones and bones. He couldn't help but frown, even though he had the help of the monarch flame. In just 2 days' time, Xiaoyan's appearance had become like an old man who was about to die. He looked extremely old. If you look old, then so be it. As long as your internal organs are intact, it will be fine. After muttering to himself, Yi Tianqian let out a soft sigh. There was a tiredness on his face that he couldn't get rid of. Immediately, he waved his sleeve, stirring a large number of origin monarch chis in the illusion realm and rushing towards this place. Very quickly, countless origin monarch chis surged over. They were thick and viscous, forming numerous emperor chi marshes. The soul light spheres in the sky were nourished by the origin monarch chis, and immediately the light expanded. Black light instantly covered half of the sky as if it was covered by darkness. It was a spectacular sight. Condense. A slightly aged voice suddenly resounded in the sky. In the next moment, the endless origin monarch chi swarmed over like tidal waves covering the soul light spheres. In a few breaths' time, they formed a thick layer of Emperor Chi armor, as if it was thirsting for a large amount of origin monarch chis. The black color of the soul light ball became purer and purer, and the black color that covered the sky gradually shrunk. In the end, all of the black light was sucked into the soul light ball. Looking at the shrinking soul light ball, Yi Tianqian took a deep breath. His hands and his sleeves involuntarily trembled. Immediately a paleness quickly surged onto the handsome face of the former. Good fellow, it really took a lot of effort. He helplessly laughed softly. Ye Tianchen looked at Xiaoyan again, who was not far away. With a glance, Xiaoyan was like a skeleton with sunken eyes. His long black hair that was originally draped over his shoulders had turned pale and fell off. There was not a trace of blood on his body. His face was as pale as a rock, and it was a shocking sight. Within his body, his heart had almost stopped beating. The flow of his blood had also become extremely slow. Even the 9 buzzing origin chains had lost their luster. They were like rusty metal chains that hung limply from his body. Beside Xiaoyan's heart, a small cluster of scarlet-red flame was slowly burning. With the help of the flame's energy, his heart was barely beating. Under the continuous pouring of origin monarch cheese, the several thousand feet large soul ball had completely condensed into a soul origin. The pure black color seemed to be able to penetrate through one's heart and reach the deepest part of one's soul. A feeling of life quietly emerged from it. Sensing the pure soul force contained within this soul origin, a trace of joy flashed across Yi Tianchen's eyes. His expression also became somewhat excited. "It's a little stronger than I expected." After muttering softly, Yi Tianchen shifted his gaze to Xiaoyan, who was like a dried corpse. With a light flick of his finger, the soul origin shot into Xiaoyan's forehead like a black lightning bolt. When the soul origin entered Xiaoyan's glabella, streams of black light suddenly flowed out from the dried corpse's body. Under Yi Tianchen's powerful senses, Xiaoyan's life force was recovering bit by bit. The black light flowed from the center of his brows to his body. In just a moment, Xiaoyan's body had returned to its original state. His skin was flushed red. His face had also returned to its original state. Within Xiaoyan's body, as the black light covered him, the organs that had lost most of their vitality also gradually recovered. The 9 metallic origin chains once again lit up, producing a rustling sound. Both of his eyes were staring at Xiaoyan's body. When the black light covered his entire body, the former's body suddenly trembled, as if it could not withstand the new energy that was poured into his body. Just as it was about to explode at this moment, a wisp of scarlet flame seeped out of his body, and the fire spread. It instantly enveloped Xiaoyan's body, and a black light burst out from his body. When the black light covered his entire body, Xiaoyan, who had his eyes tightly closed, frowned slightly. It was as if he had regained a trace of consciousness. Seeing the successful completion of the second step, Yi Tianchen let out a breath. At the same time, his expression became serious. The third step was the most important. At this moment, within Xiaoyan's body, a soul that was almost invisible was wrapped by 3,000 lightning monarch flames. It quietly stopped in front of Xiaoyan's chest. "Now start to spread your soul. Remember, there are only 5 days left." Yi Tianchen's soul voice kept echoing in Xiaoyan's mind like a yellow bell shaking Xiaoyan's mind. "Scatter, soul." Xiaoyan was like a newborn baby, mumbling these words without any consciousness. His slightly opened eyes revealed a confused look. When Yi Tianchen saw this, he suddenly stretched out his right hand and grabbed Xiaoyan's lower abdomen. "Split it for me." A thunderous shout shook every organ in Xiaoyan's body. In the next moment, the 9 Xiaoyans in Xiaoyan's body started shaking crazily. They stirred the enormous origin monarch qi that had entered his body and rushed towards the 3,000 lightning. Xiaoyan's and Xiaoyan's chest like a storm, nourishing the infant soul inside. As the 9 origin chains were fully restored, numerous huge origin monarch qis began to pour into Xiaoyan's body. They flowed along his meridians into the origin monarch crystal, and in just a few moments, the origin chains flowed along the monarch flames and into the 3,000 lightning origin monarch qis. Under the control of the Xiao Aos, these massive Xiao Aos flowed into Xiaoyan's body. Very quickly, the infant soul began to emit a faint crystal light. Time passed as Xiaoyan crazily absorbed the origin monarch qi. On the 3rd day, it finally stopped. Yi Tianqian's heart, which had been waiting for a long time, suddenly jumped to his throat. This time, his soul had been scattered into various parts of his body. If he succeeded, his soul could perfectly merge with his body and reach the same state of mind. If it fails, or if the body backfires on the soul, or the soul dissipates these two consequences, neither of them could bear it. After the Origin Monarch Chi's seizure, there was a brief period of peace within the 3,000 lightning monarch flames. The Xiao that had been busy for 3 days was currently lying on the fire source of the 3,000 lightning monarch flames, gasping for breath. It couldn't help but let out a soft sigh as it looked at the crystal-clear soul lava that had temporarily stopped moving. At this moment, the soul lava suddenly emitted a bright black light. The Xiao immediately bared its teeth, but when it remembered Xiao Yan's instructions, it could only bitterly look at the changes in the soul lava without moving. The black glow only lasted for a moment before the infant soul in the middle suddenly exploded. It transformed into countless threads of soul energy that shot out from the 3,000 lightning monarch flame and surged all over Xiao Yan's body. Yi Tianqian's sharp senses were aware of the situation within Xiao Yan's body. His calm voice contained a trace of excitement that was difficult to detect. Capture every soul origin in every cell within your body, after which burn the soul origin and the cells until they fuse into one. The compatibility between the soul and the body in the future was a crucial step. Only by penetrating the soul into the cells of the entire body could one complete the control of the soul and the body. Silently carrying out Yi Tianqian's orders, Xiao Yan, who had recovered some of his consciousness, had a thought. 3,000 lightning monarch flames shot out explosively. With the latter's power, it surged into the place where the soul origins were concentrated. When the fire started, hundreds and thousands of soul origins and cells instantly merged into one. At the place where the soul origins and cells successfully merged, a layer of life force quickly emerged. The blood flowed back, and the Origin Monarch Qis poured in, restoring it to its original state. Even so, nearly a day had passed, and the 3,000 lightning monarch flames had only merged 1/10 of all the soul origins. If this continued, the 3-step soul transfer would undoubtedly end in failure. Xiao Yan, who had recovered half of his life force, also sensed this point. Immediately, he could not help but feel anxious. He repeatedly circulated the power of the 3,000 lightning monarch flames, and even a tiny portion of the Chaos Great Monarch Flame protecting his body was added into it. The Xiao within the fire source of the 3,000 lightning monarch flame lay lazily within it. When it sensed Xiao Yan's anxiety, it blinked its intelligent eyes and lazily snorted a few times, after which its 4 hooves gently stepped on the empty air. The crimson gold flame poured down from its body and poured into the 3,000 lightning monarch flame below. The 3,000 lightning soul origins that were crazily burning the monarch flames gently shook. Then, under Xiao Yan's pleasantly surprised gaze, they turned into tens of thousands of hair-thin flames. With a light cry from the Xiao, the tens of thousands of flames were like soldiers that were ready to set off. Like a stream of light, they shot in all directions around Xiao Yan's body. Although their size had been greatly reduced, in just a few breaths of time, nearly 1% of the soul origin had perfectly merged with the cells. After sending a grateful soul message to the Xiao Yan's heart finally calmed down. He paid full attention to the integration of the soul origin and the cells. Although this step was not very dangerous, it consumed a huge amount of mental energy. Even if his head was splitting, he did not dare to slack off. With the help of the Xiao, it only took a day for the millions of soul origin to perfectly fuse with the cells. When his concentrated mental energy relaxed, Xiao Yan felt dizzy and almost fainted. He had been focusing his mental energy for 2 consecutive days. It was already a miracle that Xiao Yan was able to persist until now in his current condition. After all the soul origins had fused with the cells, Xiao Yan's life force had almost completely recovered. He opened his eyes. A black light that penetrated deep into his bone marrow flashed and disappeared, relaxing his muscles and bones. Xiao Yan looked at Yi Tianchen, who was smiling in front of him. He could clearly see the fatigue on Yi Tianchen's face. A warm feeling surged in his heart. He had lost his soul for more than 10 days, so he had almost no feeling at all. It was Yi Tianchen who helped him transform his soul. However, the transformation of his soul should be extremely difficult for this old man who had been dead for tens of thousands of years. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan bowed respectfully to Yi Tianchen and said, "Many thanks to Elder Yi for helping me." Xiao Yan will never forget this in his life. Yi Tianchen was startled when he heard this. Then he smiled and waved his hand. "Let's talk about this when you have the strength in the future. The 3-step soul transfer has not succeeded yet. Next, you need to extract your soul from your cells and gather it between your eyebrows. After forming a real soul, it will be considered a success."
Yeah.
Xiao Yan was puzzled after hearing this. Since you want to extract it from the cells, why didn't you directly gather it between your eyebrows just now? Yi Tianchen looked at Xiao Yan and said calmly, "First, inject your soul into the cells in your body first to activate the originally lifeless cells. Second, leave a new soul imprint in the cells. It is the same as your physical body accepting a new soul. The new soul and the physical body can perfectly merge into one." After listening to Yi Tianchen's introduction, Xiao Yan couldn't help but click his tongue. Every step of the 3-step soul transfer could not be neglected. All right, let's talk about this later when the time is too tight. Now let's proceed to the last step. Focus on locking all the cells in your body and extracting your soul energy. Gather it between your eyebrows and make it invisible. Yi Tianchen waved his sleeve and said in a serious voice. Xiao Yan nodded with a serious expression. Yi Tianchen had completed the most important steps. Next, he would have to rely on himself. Immediately, his mind entered his body. The power of nothingness poured down, filling all the meridians in his body. His cells and bones were completely enveloped. Xiao Yan closed his eyes tightly, and under the urging of his mind, the soul origins that had perfectly merged with his cells slowly appeared. They paused for a moment. They surged towards the space between Xiao Yan's eyebrows and turned into an extremely faint black light. Xiao Yan only busied himself for a while before stopping. He looked at the countless soul origins contained in the countless cells in his body. He couldn't help but laugh bitterly. He seemed to have fallen into a state of helplessness. Previously, he relied on the 3,000 lightning monarch flames to calcine the soul origins. It took him a day's time to successfully scatter the soul origins, but now he had to extract it from his cells. He did not know how long it would take him to complete such a vast project with just his own ability. And now what he lacked the most was time. 5 days was his bottom line. Unable to come up with a solution, Xiao Yan shifted his attention to the 3,000 lightning monarch flames. Just as he had this thought in mind, a somewhat tender voice sounded in his mind. The 3,000 lightning Xiao Yans had just transformed into countless Tao child flames and dispersed the soul. Now its source is severely damaged and is currently recovering. If you want it to weaken and disappear in the end, then use it. When he heard the lazy voice of the Xiao Yan's expression involuntarily changed. His final hope had been blocked. There was no need for the Chaos Great Monarch Flame to protect his body. In this way, Xiao Yan was somewhat frightened to find that he actually had no other way at the moment. He could still extract the soul origin from his cells, but the soul origin that had fused with his bones and meridians was extremely sturdy. Under Xiao Yan's full power, he could only extract one soul origin in a minute. This speed made the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth twitch. It seemed like a day had passed, and the soul that had gathered in between his eyebrows was only an extremely small lump. Xiao Yan couldn't stay calm anymore. He made up his mind. The Chaos Great Monarch Flame that protected his body entered his body and turned into a fiery lotus. The space around the fire lotus flower rippled slightly. In the next moment, countless tiny fire lotuses that were hard to detect with the naked eye swarmed all over Xiao Yan's body. Within the 3,000 lightning monarch flame's source of fire, the Xiao Ao opened its eyes wide and looked at the densely packed fire lotuses above its head. It couldn't help but shrink its neck and mutter in a low voice, "What a madman!" As it spoke, his lively eyes swept across the little golden dragon that had fallen into hibernation. This little dragon was the fire spirit of the 3,000 lightning monarch flame. Because it was swallowed by the Xiao Yi, it usually possessed the Xiao Yi's body. When Xiaoyan used the three-step soul transfer, in order to better control the 3,000 lightning monarch flames, he released it. The Xiao Owl blinked its big eyes and finally let out a low and deep sound of pondering. After that, the flames on its body expanded and turned into countless golden red fire snakes that were as thin as strands of hair. They rushed towards all the cells and bones in Xiaoyan's body like tidewater. Without the protection of the Chaos Great Monarch Flame, Xiaoyan's body quickly swelled up due to the surging energy in his body. His skin was scarlet red and his veins were exposed. He looked extremely ferocious. Xiaoyan's eyes were tightly shut and his entire body was as red as charcoal. Underneath his skin, blood was flowing out. In just a few breaths of time, the blood had broken free from the restraint of his skin and shot out. In an instant, Xiaoyan had become a bloody man. When the blood landed on the ferocious face of the latter, due to the pain, it became even more terrifying. His body was like a knife twisting around his body. The pain caused Xiaoyan's mind to scatter and almost collapse. Fortunately, the soul origin in his body had a clear feeling when it gathered between his eyebrows, which made Xiaoyan grit his teeth and hold on. Outside the arena, Yi Tianqian looked at Xiaoyan, who was covered in fresh blood. His eyebrows were lifted. His heart had instantly predicted what was going on. Immediately, an anxious expression appeared in his eyes. His heart was like a taut string that did not relax at all. Within his body, the speed at which he was extracting Chaos Great Monarch flames through the soul origins suddenly increased explosively. He was many times faster than Xiaoyan by himself. His mind was somewhat fuzzy as he sensed all of this. Xiaoyan smiled with a pale face. 5 days should be enough for this kind of speed. At this moment, a whistling sound that blotted out the sky and covered the earth resounded in Xiaoyan's ears. Xiaoyan was startled, but before he could look at where the whistling sound came from, he saw countless strands of scarlet golden flames that were as thin as hair burst out from the 3,000 lightning monarch flames and entered his cells like lightning. Not long after, a large cluster of soul origins that flickered with black light was extracted. In an instant, it arrived between Xiaoyan's eyebrows and smoothly merged with the originally faint black light. In an instant, Xiaoyan felt his vision become clear. This world had a greater tolerance for him. At the same time, Xiaoyan could also feel that the aura of the Xiao Ao was rapidly weakening. He thought for a moment. Xiaoyan knew what had happened. In his mind, a trace of fatigue appeared on Yi Tianqian's old face and the dim light in the Xiao Yi's big eyes. Xiaoyan immediately let out a light sigh. A faint smile hung on his pale face. The pain between his brows had faded a little because of this. They were going all out. What did this bit of pain count for?